We often hear about child prodigies like Pablo Picasso or Mozart, whose brilliance appeared at an early age, while other people show their genius a bit later in life, such as Eleanor Roosevelt or Grandma Moses. So for those who've ever wondered why some people dazzle as children and others are late bloomers, we'll call them, best-selling author Claudia Kalb explores that question in her new book, Spark, How Genius Ignites from Child Prodigies to Late Bloomers. Claudia, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
So in this book, you explore the timing of someone's spark, the moment when their genius is launched or comes to fruition. But first off, how do you define genius?
Right. I mean, it's a very amorphous topic in a way, and it's difficult to define. There's no single source of genius, but I define it as sort of the pinnacle of potential when you have intelligence and curiosity, perseverance and luck, and they come together in someone's life to forge a new way to see, to think, to hear, to understand the world. It really requires a willingness to fail, a passion to pursue and sort of cross borders and boundaries, and an idea or a concept that is really so transformative, it changes a field forever and lives on for generations to come.
And let's talk about child prodigies, because you emphasize that a child like Yo-Yo Ma, who shows genius at a very early age, is also able to be successful as an adult as well. What is it that allows them to function at such a high level for decades?
I think it's remarkable that people like Yo-Yo Ma, Shirley Temple also, who I researched, prodigies early in life as children, a lot of nurturing, a lot of cultivating by mentors and parents, but also a wide, expansive view of the world and experience in the world. Shirley Temple went on and had a family. Yo-Yo Ma went to Harvard and met kids outside of music. Both of them had experiences that opened them to something beyond their craft that they did as a child. And Yo-Yo Ma refers to that all the time as a way to sort of nurture him in exploring the world as an adult and continuing to use music in a whole new way. And with Shirley Temple, she ended up changing careers completely and becoming a diplomat later in life. The early skills she used, her ability to socialize and interact with people, she used later. But that longevity of those skills, that ability to harness talent, skills, and luck and fortune later really stood out in those prodigies' lives as adults as well.
And some of the geniuses that you profile in the book have common threads in their stories, including overcoming real adversity and great loss. For some people, those experiences might derail them, but you write about people in your book who were actually propelled forward by trauma.
Right. I mean, incredible stories of adversity. I'll mention three briefly. Isaac Newton, whose father died when he was a baby, and he never knew him. He was sort of raised to become a farm tender of the land like his family had become. But he was an intellectual, and eventually, after a lot of sort of trying to fit him into a square, was able to excel at his craft in the world of physics, to sort of get beyond that difficult early childhood. You have someone like Maya Angelou. I mean, Maya Angelou had such a difficult early life. Her parents sent her off to live with her grandmother. She lived in poverty. She dealt with the indignities of racism. She suffered a rape as a child. And yet somehow she used that. She sort of built herself some kind of strength and inner core that she harnessed, and she used her experience to talk about her life and to tell the rest of us what it's like to live in that kind of situation, and then become so glorious in terms of her language and the way she described life in her poetry. She really excelled. And finally, Eleanor Roosevelt, who I profile in Spark, she also an orphan by the age of 10, a mother who didn't think she was beautiful enough, a father who struggled with alcoholism, very insecure, very shy as a young woman. She meets a mentor at about 15 or 16 in school when she goes away to London, who believes in her and nourishes her. And she's able to, over her life, also build up a resilience and use it to keep bounding back from challenge.
And what about the geniuses who find their spark at midlife? You just talked about writer Maya Angelou, for example, who didn't write her first book until she was 40 years old. Julia Child, who became a cookbook author and famous TV chef in her 50s. Talk us through that kind of midlife spark, and is there some common thread? Is it resilience?
I think there's a lot of resilience there. I think there's sort of a willingness to be open, a curiosity, looking beyond the sort of life that might be structured for you and looking beyond that to see what else is out there. Julia Child discovers food for the first time at the age of 37 in France and starts working on recipes and learning to cook. And at 50, just debuts as the French chef. I mean, it's remarkable that was that point in her life where she takes off with such fire. And really her middle-agedness was what she used to propel herself. It's what she used to attract her viewers who loved her for her very wholesome, down-to-earth and sort of middle-agedness way she acted and was. That really worked for her. And Maya Angelou, too, being later in life, allowed her to build on those experiences and write about them. She couldn't have written about them earlier. It had to be midlife to sort of be able to cultivate the awareness and the understanding of looking back. So I find middle-agedness fascinating, and a lot more longer lifespans now. People can pursue new things in middle age using these individuals as models. I have a little piece of science that I think people will also find reassuring, is that aging brains continue to grow. There used to be a lot of sense that the brain kind of stopped in childhood, that the growth was done with, but really they continue to grow, and you can nurture them and continue to be creative and imaginative. There's no expiration date.
Good to know. Really inspirational conversation. Claudia Kalb, we thank you so much for being with us. Spark: How Genius Ignites from Child Prodigies to Late Bloomers goes on sale today wherever books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.